Living every day in your head for free. You can tap away, but I will not hear you scream. You can break the keys, spread your toxicity, your world outside reality. In your room, a little hideaway, but you let it through. Enough to go insane, living in the dark hasn't treated you well. You're building your
What's going down, Saber Legion family? TSL Underground Session 7, the return to TSL5. I am Thor, Baseboy Banner, joined as always with Mr. David Laudenslager. Say hello, David.
How we doing?
Fabulous. And our special guest joining us on commentary tonight, Mr. Erik Haltson. Nailed it.
Hello.
I got such
Thank
great.
you.
There was such positive feedback from this man announcing at TSL5. We invited him over to Underground. We said, "Come on over here. We got some TSL5 matches that were taped on the last day. We're gonna run them. Come join us, and we'll share all this goodness with our TSL family." So here we are. So you guys were both at TSL5. I wasn't. So tell me about it.
Go ahead, Eric, because I'm only hearing half of what Thor is saying because I'm having audio issues. So go ahead.
Sure.
Erik, you're our guest. You go first.
Okay. Yeah, TSL5 was great. It was it was really well run, as always. It was really well organized, as always, but it was really kind of, everything COVID-y made it very strange. I was wondering if I was going to go or not, and I made the decision a little bit later than I usually would have. But you know what, the hotel, the Flamingo Hotel and Casino, did a great job with everything. Knowing that Combat Con required everybody to be vaccinated to even show up was helpful. When we would get to the floor of the event center where all of the Combat Con and TSL stuff was happening, there was just this really nice sense of community and about everybody's here to support each other, everybody's here to compete, everybody's here to have fun, and it was really that. It was surprisingly both kind of intense to see everybody again and to fight with some of those folks from other charters, but it was also a real kind of like homecoming thing. So it was just great to be there the whole time.
Awesome. David, tell everyone watching a little bit about the last day of TSL, TSL5, TSL4, the last day of the TSL National Tournament. What normally happens on that last day?
I heard none of that because of my audio issues.
Cool.
So I'm assuming you're talking about the incarnation. If you give me a thumbs up, if you meant the incarnation of doing Underground on the last day and how that all came together. Is that what you're talking about? Yes. Sorry about the technical issues because for some reason everybody can hear me. Connection's fine, but they cut in and out for me. So I'll figure it out. Either way, so it kind of came to that we always have the last day as this free sparring day. We pretty much decided, that, in that free sparring, it is a wonderful time to get some underground fights in because this is the first opportunity where we have to basically have inter-charter fights occurring in underground. And so I decided to, use the camera setup that we already had, basically a modified version of it. We used the ring setup we already had, slightly modified, and then we kind of made it very easy to just say, okay, the next two fights come on in, the next two next two fighters come on in, next two fighters come on in, next four fighters come on in the case of the tag. So that worked out really well, and it was a really good environment while everybody in the background is sparring and everything. So it was a nice thing to do in the morning and then give us more content for Underground. And you look at the card, and Joe Blankenship fought two fights. He fought the first fight and he fought the last fight. So he did double duty, and surprisingly, all the fights are great. I mean, I don't remember too much about them because I was really focusing on the actual cameras were running, but I know that they were all very engaging, at least in person to see. So I'm excited to revisit them because I didn't do any of the editing this time. So
that's enough of a build up for me. Let's do the breakdown for our first match. Pull up our first fighter card, Joe. We got Mr. Joe Blankenship himself, the aforementioned, standing 5'9", 220 with a 69-inch reach. Events, TSL5, Bladetoberfest, upcoming championship series match, Sun Crusher, Uncrushable, Florida Open Tournament. Oh my gosh. 2 years of training, custom Saber experience, second place at Bladetoberfest, using a Mando Core MK4. And he's going up against Mr. Ryan Smokey McKenna, standing at 5'7", 180 with a 55-inch reach, 30 years lacrosse. He's got some definitely stamina. 3 years of Saber Light Knights Academy and 2 years of TSL Custom Saber experience. Certified line judge. Hello, line judges. Saber is a KI, Sabers, Slayer, or Amanda Core MK4. He was top 8 at Crossroads, top 8 at TSL5, won an Underground match at Underground 2. I remember that. And then a couple other things. So, all right, send us back to Vegas. I missed Vegas this year. I didn't go. I didn't get to go to Vegas. I got a new baby, so I stayed home, and but I'm glad I get to go.
All right, welcome to today's Underground match.
Here we go.
In the blue corner, we have Joe Blankenship of Iowa. In the red corner, we have Ryan McKenna of Virginia. Fighters, acknowledge the table.
Seth Clendenning is judging here.
Fighters, acknowledge each other.
Yeah. Yep, our director Seth. You see David back there at the table.
Yeah.
And looks like we had Andy Cameron also as the other line judge for this one.
All right, fighters.
Okay.
Ready. Fight. That's what it was. Okay. I got it now.
The fighter's setting the tone with the console or with the director
Judge
right
calls
out the
blue,
gate.
I call simultaneous, no score. First of the match. Fighters ready. Fight!
Simultaneous does not get you a point, and after 3 of them, we actually deduct points in the Saber Legion.
Right.
Underground, any iteration of our fights.
Hold. I agree with the judge. Point red.
There's
Fighters
going to be a
ready.
lot of
Starts
similarities in
off
this
1-0.
fight.
Point red.
You're going to see
Fight.
kind of that wide, two-handed to one-handed kind of some wider shots. Ryan's a little bit tighter with and has a little bit more of a fencing
Simultaneous. Second of the match.
background
Fighters
in how
ready.
he fights.
Fight.
But you'll see a lot of like wide shots, two to
Hold.
one-handed kind of shots, just like that.
Judge and I
Yep.
agree. Point red.
Nice.
Red with another point. 2-0 now.
Fighters ready. Fight.
So, Eric, were you there on the last day for some of the sparring and stuff?
I was, and yeah, I'm not sure which of
Hold.
these I
Judge
was
and I
live
agree.
judging for, but
Point
you might
blue.
catch me around the edges.
Fighters
somewhere
ready.
here.
Fight.
Good honor there. Joe, our blue fighter, gets on the board. Much needed point there.
We also
2-0's
had
not-
Hold.
I should acknowledge
Good
our
honor
other
by
volunteer. We
red.
had Greg
Point
Stevens
blue.
operating the
Fighters
scoreboard
ready.
for at least this fight. I don't know if
Fight.
he operated for all of them, but
Oh, yeah,
it was
Christian
just to help out the fighters, and it gives us a little extra, live score reading for
Hold.
the cameras.
I agree with this
Which
judge.
we don't have a
Point
lot of time
red.
for Underground is the
Fighters
live
ready.
score, which
Fight.
helps. It does. And it helped during the edit, I'll be honest. 3-2 now. Ryan with a 1-point
Hold.
advantage.
There you go.
I also
So
saw
I did
red.
edit one of
Point
the matches
red.
later on.
Fighters ready. Hold. Hold time, please.
You're home for a gear check.
You're good?
Minor
good?
wardrobe malfunction.
Fighters
Nothing
ready.
major.
Fight.
There we go. Yeah, this is a fun one. They're both using a lot of space. They're not, they're very in control, but they're not on a very strict
Hold.
line either.
Point blue. Fighters ready.
At a certain
Tighten
point,
up.
they're getting a little linear, but there Joe took a step offline, and that's kind of all he needed to make the shot. So if Joe starts working
Hold.
offline, that's what will make the difference, or
Point
gets Ryan to
That was
step in
nice,
distance.
man.
Fighters ready.
That was just
Fight.
this is just great. This is a great mass shot right there. 4-4. Wow. That was quick.
Hold.
Very
I
dynamic.
agree with this
kinda.
judge. Simultaneous.
Fun to watch.
Third of the match.
Third
Fighters ready.
simultaneous.
Fight.
So we lose points.
Fun to
3-3
watch,
now.
kinda
Going
hard to
backwards.
judge.
Hold.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is
I
Ryan
agree
has
with
to
this
get
judge.
inside of Joe, because
Point
Joe has
red.
the reach,
Fighters ready.
and
Fight.
pretty much in the first part of the match, Ryan was taking advantage of that, and now Joe has kind of adapted a little bit to
Hold.
Ryan getting inside,
I
so
agree.
he's not getting inside as
Simultaneous.
easily.
Fourth of the match. Fighters ready. Fight.
3-2.
Hold. Good honor.
Yeah, right there,
Point
he
blue.
caught him reaching,
Fighters ready.
but Blue got it.
Fight.
Joe ties it up at 3.
Hold. What was that, Joe? Didn't get him. No score. Fighters ready.
Okay, no
Fight.
point awarded. So still 3-3.
Hold. You sure? No contact? No score. The judge did put up blue, that's why I stopped it. No score. Fighters ready. Fight. Hold. Point red.
Oh, we got another.
Fighters
Oh,
ready.
right,
Joe pretty much
Fight.
needs to step offline. That's what's happening now. Is Ryan has figured out how to out time him,
Hold.
and
Good honor
the
by
more
blue.
taking
Point
slight
red.
angles,
Switch sides.
that'll
Red
help him
gets,
out.
guys.
Another point, gets to 5, so we switch sides at 5 points.
Fighters ready. Fight.
Yeah, I agree, David, that it's kind of cool to see how they kind of read each other a little bit, and they adjust and adapt. And it really is a strategy thing.
Hold. Good honor by red. Point
A lot of these
blue.
matches weren't pre-planned,
Fighters
right? These were
ready.
just kind of
Fight.
decided over the weekend.
They were pre-planned to a certain degree of who wants to participate. People said they
Hold.
wanted to, so
Point
probably maybe a
red.
week if we
Fighters
had any
ready.
advanced knowledge. I think one or
Fight.
two were
Oh, I'm
definite.
sorry.
I think
My
Ryan
mistake.
and Joe were the
Point
first ones to
blue.
step up.
Tie game. Fighters
So,
ready.
yeah, you have Virginia versus, Wisconsin. So these are two fighters that aren't going to see each other, like you said, outside of TSL5. And this is a very entertaining match. 5-5. I mean, just tight. Just a tight first round. So we do 3 rounds
Judges
in
and
Underground.
I say
That's 3
simultaneous.
rounds.
Deduct 1 point. Sudden death.
Sudden death.
Fighters
There we go.
ready.
4-4.
Fight.
Who's going to win the opening round? Winning the opening round, I think, is always important. It sets the kind of the tone for the match.
Holds.
I think, yeah,
Nice
I was
job,
gonna say, I
guys.
saw Red on that.
Red takes
got
match.
it. He takes
Yeah, right
that
there, he
opening
just,
round.
Joe extended to keep distance. Ryan took a slight angle to the outside and came underneath, and that's really what did it, was that angle step. As soon as he stepped on the angle, he had the better shot to Joe's arm, which he basically presented for him. So that's the danger of, like, when you go to measure distance, you don't pull back right away. You give them a better idea of distance, because yes, you can figure out distance, but so can they. And he gave that extra second.
Man.
So that was the big thing that happened in that match.
Erik, what did you see in that opening round between these two fighters?
Just flexibility and for fighters with different styles, like David was saying, in more of a 2-hand versus 1-hand kind of situation, you saw both of them kind of lock in the timing a little bit and then become a little more deliberate and choose their moments. And it paid off. It was a really well-balanced match. I mean, each of them were making little adjustments, and they were, it was going approximately equally well, which is why we kept tying up the score repeatedly. And
yeah,
so
right. Went to sudden death. A lot of simultaneous. So you have those are keys to where both fighters are doing kind of what they need to do to win the match when it comes down to that pretty much coin flip, right? And it's funny, for having such different styles, they move somewhat similarly. I mean, even though one's a one-handed and one's two-handed, they kind of have that lower, they get low and they kind of move. Like you said, one doesn't move offline enough. Joe needs to move offline a little bit more, but Ryan was doing it a little bit better, and that's why he had a little bit more success. So let's go to round 2, and we'll see who takes round 2. See if we get a third round.
All right, Underground, we are ready for round 2 with Joe Blankenship and Ryan McKenna. Gentlemen, are you ready? Fighters ready. Fight! Hold. Judge says blue. Honor call, point blue. Fighters ready. Fight!
Even if Joe doesn't move offline, is being more aggressive something that can maybe help him in the second round?
Yeah, I mean, he has a reach advantage, I'm pretty sure, over Ryan, just eyeing it up. So the more aggressive he can be, the faster he'll be in distance.
Hold. Judge says red, point.
There's 2 quick points.
No contact. Declining a point. Then point blue. Fighters ready. Good honor. Fight.
2-0. Draw off to a strong start in round 2.
Mm-hmm.
Hold.
But you want to come out strong in round 2. If you lose round 1, if you can come out hot in round 2, it's going to give you maybe that confidence you might have lost losing that first round. That's 3 straight points. That's
Hold.
Yep.
Oof.
I also saw the red undercut on the third one. Point red. Fighters ready.
Red gets on the board.
Sometimes when you're going into that, if you won the first round, you can sometimes try to create this
I agree with this judge.
stealing
Point blue.
from football that
Fighters
prevent
ready.
defense. You try to just protect, and you try to be a little more cautious because you don't want to give that up, but you end up giving up more of a lead.
Hold.
I'm guilty of it myself.
Judge and I agree. Point blue. Switch sides.
Or maybe you're more offensive, then you switch to a more defensive, and it can cost you a round.
And I wanted to do specific techniques, so it cost me a round. In that case, it didn't cost me a match, but it cost me a round.
Good honor by blue. Point red.
5-1. Quick 5 points by Joe, though. He needed that. Ryan gets a needed point, though. At 5-1, you want to get a point. If you're Ryan at that point, you want that last one.
Hold. I agree with the judge. Simultaneous.
Nice
First of the
changes
match.
there.
Fighters ready. Fight.
So we're seeing, I think, less simultaneous
I agree
already
with the
through this
judge.
match.
Simultaneous second of the match.
Although
Fighters ready.
I just said that we
Fight.
got 2 straight. So what do I know?
Joe is trying to use more of that reach, but that also means that he's
Hold.
he's gripping the hilt closer to
Judge
the
says
pommel, and he's making
unclear.
wider
I'm going to go with
arcs.
that. Fighters ready. Fight.
Yeah, the big thing you can see with Joe as well is when he leans forward onto his knee, there's a point where his knee shifts forward a little bit further. And at that point, the only place he can go is back. It is much harder to continue to move
Red came
forward
underneath at the
without
end.
making a
Point
big action.
red.
So
Fighters
Ryan
ready.
is actually timing
Fight.
him a couple times here, which is like
Yep.
he's waiting for that knee to just lean forward and then he hits him.
Hold.
So that's just one thing that I
Honor
noticed
call.
that Joe is
Point
doing.
blue. Fighters
So
ready.
waiting for that.
Fight.
That extra weight
Joe's up
forward can
6-3
sometimes mean
now.
all the difference.
Hold.
Well, it seems like when Joe's being more aggressive, he's having better success. When
Unclear.
he's laying back and allowing
Inconclusive.
Ryan to come to him, he's
Fighters
actually having
ready.
less
Fight.
success.
Yeah, because I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to
Hold.
fake
Good
Ryan
honor
out a
by
little bit,
blue.
throw a feint or
Point
something
red.
like that. And
Fighters
Ryan doesn't really
ready. Fight.
play for it, so it just kind of doesn't work because when
Hold.
Joe is actually being
I agree with
aggressive
the
and making a
judge.
shot,
Point red.
it works really well.
Fighters ready. Fight.
But when
Yeah,
he's
look,
when he's
see,
just kind of trying to
Joe's
get
kinda
Ryan
laid
to
back
react,
here and he's locked.
Ryan doesn't
Hold.
react.
2 straight points.
Judge and
Right
I
there
agree.
again.
Point red. Fighters ready.
Wow.
Fight.
Red came storming back. 6-6 now.
Right?
Yeah, and see, when Joe was charging, he was getting those points. He
Oh.
started laying back, and he
Judge
stopped
says
getting the
blue.
points.
Point blue. Fighters
He needed
ready.
that, though.
Fight.
That was an important point
Yeah,
right
it's pretty
there.
much this whole round has come down to
Hold.
Joe is
Oof.
aggressive enough; he can make it happen like
He
that.
get the thrust
but,
in before the
Says
disc
blue.
arm.
I agree. Point blue.
Woof. That was a
the
nasty.
ready.
timing
That
and the
was a nasty
distance
shot.
Fight.
is the game for.
Yep.
That's the game for Ryan. He's playing a time game. He has Joe's number on that. He just has to manage
Judge
the distance.
says red. I call simultaneous. Fighters ready.
Third.
Fight.
A good
Losing
example,
points.
I think,
Oh, they didn't.
of the idea that time
Hold.
really is.
Good honor.
There's-
Point red.
There's
Fighters
this
ready.
idea that
Fight.
speed is an illusion. Speed doesn't exist. You can't increase your speed. It's just timing and getting the blade where it needs to be when it needs to be there.
Hold.
Oof.
Gets
I agree with
perceived
this
as
judge.
Yeah.
Point red.
speed
Tie
or
ball
power,
game.
or whatever you want to call it.
Fighters
It's
ready.
really all timing.
Fight. 10 seconds.
Ryan goes all out on his knees to get that point and gets 8-8.
Inconclusive. Fighters ready. Fight.
Okay, not simultaneous. Just
Hold.
nothing scored. Oof.
I agree. It was point blue. Time expires.
Wow.
Blue takes match. I should say
That was
round.
close.
We're going to
Fired
round 3.
Blue gets the final point to take that round. Whoa. That was a quick round. That was a quick round. Holy buckets. We're back. Woo. That was fast. Blink of an eye. So Joe did what he needed to do. It came down to that, almost came down to final exchange again because it was an 8-8, 9-8 or whatever. So yeah, we covered a lot of it, but was Joe just more aggressive and that's how he kind of got that round?
Well, there was a little bit of hesitancy of Ryan at the beginning. That hesitancy got him down to a 3-point deficit. Had Ryan stuck with the game that he did in the first round and then continued what he later did in the second round, at the end of the second round, he probably would have not had as much of a gap to overcome. So it would have been a little bit tighter of a match for the whole match. I think that Joe had an advantage with that aggression. But on top of that, Ryan really did have an understanding of Joe's distance at the end of that. And Joe was just able to kind of eke it out. So the big thing is Joe needs to monitor his distance and try to be aggressive, but also take the angle. And Ryan just needs to keep playing that distance and time game where he's basically making either Joe overreach or he's making Joe be out of time. So that is kind of where the secret to success for in that third round.
All right, Eric, and what did you think of that second round?
I 100% agree. We covered most of it during the match, but it was it's really fun to watch these two fighters in particular, because you can just there's not a lot of big flashy Star Warsy stuff going on. But at the same time, I got to say, it's not overly technical. It's not that kind of, mental chess match where you can't see a lot of movement. They're trying stuff, but they're being smart about it as they do. And it's a nice balance, I think.
All right, Joe, send us to round 3.
All right, we are in Las Vegas.
Ever pivotal,
We're
always
in round
entertaining.
3.
Round number 3.
We're 1-1. So this is the final round. In the blue corner.
And thank you,
Joe
Mexican
Blankenship
Ironman on
from
Twitter,
Iowa,
said this is
who
a
is now a
fantastic
rookie.
panel and analysis. Great job, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
And
We
to the
appreciate
red
it.
corner, Ryan
We
McKenna
tried.
from Virginia. Fighters, ready. Fight!
Yeah, whoever said the line judge's shoes are lovely, they are. Those are some nice shoes.
Hold. Good honor by blue, point red. Fighters ready. Fight!
And we'll see
Leaving
those
director
shoes in
sets, 'cause
action
those are amazing
later in
shoes,
this
too.
episode.
Really? Can't wait.
Oh, Andy's shoes. Yeah, those are amazing. It's a Wisconsin thing. Yeah, see, Joe's okay. He's hanging back.
Hold. Are you okay?
Brian's fast,
I
though.
think it was the clavicle I only saw.
Yeah, that came
Point
up.
red.
That came up.
Fighters
Not
ready.
intentional.
Fight!
Red gets the point, though. He's on top 2-0. Joe hasn't had the best success when he's laid back and waited. He kind of needs to get more aggressive, especially when you're in round 3. There you go.
There's one.
Judge says blue, point blue. Fighters ready.
That's the thing
Fight!
with those orbitals. They do a great job of keeping your opponent at a distance. They do a great job of giving you some distance.
Hold.
But
I agree.
the
Softly came
minute
under the
details
arm.
you need
Point
sometimes
red.
with a cut
Fighters
and knowing that
ready.
exact
Fight!
distance disappears a little bit because you have more time to travel, so your opponent can move.
Hold.
And on top
I
of that,
agree with the
you're
honor
looking
call.
at
The grays by blue, point
just
blue.
with certain steps,
Fighters ready.
that there's
Fight!
going to be a difference. If you want to be a good orbital fighter, you got to be working every type of footwork with that to know exactly how big your distance is, and it's going to be different with every opponent. So it's a tougher thing. It's effective in our sport,
You didn't
but
see it, however,
sometimes
I
it
did
can be
see blue
undone, like we're
strikes
seeing
red's
here.
leg. Or the side. We can do that too. Point blue. Fighters ready. Fight!
Who gets the point? Ties it up at 3. I mean, that's a lot of information to be processing. You know what I mean?
Good honor.
Yeah.
Point blue.
That's a lot of information
Fighters
to
ready.
take for your brain to
Fight!
process as you're trying to also, not get hit.
Well, it's a lot of information to process, but the thing is, with training, your brain
Hold.
shouldn't be processing. I will
Judge
say,
calls
if either of
simultaneous.
these
First of
fighters
the
are
match.
thinking that,
Fighters
they
ready.
will
Fight!
not succeed. If I'm thinking that in a fight, I will not succeed. It needs to be pure instinct,
Hold.
or some people call it flow, or warrior
Didn't see
mind,
it.
or
I thought I
no
saw red.
mind, or something like that.
We'll go
That's
inconclusive. No
kind
point.
of the thing.
Fighters
You got to
ready.
be trained
Fight!
into it, so it's instinct.
Right. You do it without thinking. 4-3. Joe with a 1-point advantage. Round 3, opening match of Underground Session 7.
Hold.
The return to
I
TSL5.
agree.
Boom.
Blue came in first. Point blue. Switch sides, gentlemen.
Ooh, blue got it first, though.
Yeah.
I always see the headshot.
Fighters
Oh, that was
ready.
a nice little exchange of
Fight!
sabers. That's an
Yeah,
interesting
the headshots
tactic.
are more impressive. And to be fair, there are
Hold.
different blade arts or
This judge
sports
says
where a
red.
headshot is
I would have
worth
called
more
blue
points.
and made contact. No
Ours is not one
score.
of those.
Fighters ready. Fight!
5-3.
Hold. Point
Did it
blue.
connect?
Also, want to point
Fighters
out the
ready.
the lovely Electrum Sabercraft advertisements. They were our sponsor for the exotics
Oh.
division, the Electrum Sabercraft Exotics
Point
tournament, I
red.
think, as we called it.
Fighters ready.
So
Fight!
I just want to. It was a nice little setup to create kind of an Electrum Sabercraft ring on Underground. So give them a little extra.
Awesome.
Little extra sponsorship for their support of TSL5,
Hold.
Very
Surrounded by
cool.
blue.
and that is
6-4 here
Electrum
now.
Sabercraft
Fighters ready.
staff that
Fight.
the director Seth Clendenning won for winning the exotics tournament.
That is a nice
Indeed.
looking staff.
Hold.
That was a really
Was
nice
there a
staff.
score? Okay, I thought you were calling honor. Keep going, guys.
6-5.
Sorry.
Round 3. Nothing called. 1 point. This has been tight all the way through. Round 1 was tight. Round 2 was tight.
Mhm.
Round 3 is no different. Why should we expect any different?
Hold.
Oh,
Point
Did Red get a
Fighters
shoulder?
ready.
Joe.
Fight.
Yes, he
did.
did. 6-6.
Oh wow, he got that.
Right. This is a
Hold.
good intro
Point
match for
red.
people who might be joining
Fighters
us
ready.
wondering
Fight.
what is this all about.
Wow, Ryan's now taking the lead. He's up
Hold.
7-6.
Point
The
red.
big thing is Joe has a lot of
Fighters
tells
ready.
when he
Fight.
moves forward because you can see his whole body moving at you. So it gives Ryan that extra split second of reaction time, which is why you see Ryan taking minor steps and then countering. And it is working to his advantage in this round.
Hold.
He's now up 8-6.
Point
So
blue.
Like if you
Fighters
see
ready.
there,
here we go, Blue.
Fight.
Joe's foot moved before his blade started in action. Bigger target for the eye to see.
Hold.
So therefore,
Point
it gave
red.
just that little bit
Fighters
extra
ready.
time.
Match point
9-7.
for red. Fight.
Match point for Ryan
Hold.
here.
I also
Joe
saw
needs
the
this
grays
point to
by
stay
blue.
alive.
Fight blue. Fighters
Got
ready.
it.
Fight.
9-8. I would love to see this go to final to go to sudden death 9-9. So can Joe get this point, or can Ryan close it out here?
Hold. Honor call.
Ooh,
Honor
We are
point.
honor
tied up,
call. Man,
gentlemen.
that's tough.
Sudden death.
9-9. Here we go. 1 point
I
for the
think
match.
he got the score there. Yeah.
9-9. Fighters ready. Fight. Hold.
Oh,
Blue takes
man,
advantage,
Joe was
guys.
aggressive and he got it. 10-9.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he came in.
Aggressive but
Came in
controlled.
hot. Yeah, got that thrust, got that point, got that win. Wow, what a great first match that was! Holy buckets! That was some fun to be at in person. David.
Yeah, the big thing I can see that the difference for Joe in that is he appeared, and isn't the only reason, but he kept with the strategy. He didn't change anything in that third round, and it was working for him. But on top of that, it looked like Ryan slowed down a little bit in those last 3-4 exchanges. So there might have been some fatigue associated with it, whether he saw it or felt it or not. There was a very easy to see slowdown in some of his reaction to Joe's strikes at the end there. So I think that very much might have meant the difference in that round, and then in the difference in the match.
Yeah, that was
I
a
would
great
agree
first
with
match. Like
that.
you were saying, Eric. Just entertaining if you're just joining us, or if you found us on YouTube or Facebook and you're just scrolling through. This is what TSL is all about. Just great action, and then saw the hug at the end. So great camaraderie and all that. All it's all encompassing. So any last thoughts on this match before we move on to match number 2, gentlemen? We are good. Bring me up our fighter card. Yeah. Both fighters did an amazing job. So this is the consular fight. We have Aaron, the King of Knights, Rocola, friend of the show, 5'11", 260, 71.5-inch reach, training experience with Cali, and I always forget that one. That's a word that I can never get. But he's got a lot: Thai kickboxing, Filipino boxing, jiu-jitsu, lots of stuff. Consular in training, charter member, support team member at Minnesota Saber Legion, the Wampas, and he's fighting with an MH5 custom build, Promised Victory. Fought at Resolution back in 2018, Awakening back in 2018, Battleground in 2018, Battleground in 2019, and then Battle Champions 3 in 2019. So I'm sure he is excited to go up against Brumbaugh, the Sakura Fabuki, 5'6", 145 with a 68-inch reach. Training, played a ton of Soul Calibur and loves Samurai Champloo, so he's an expert. 5 years of custom saber experience, consular in training, charter up for Colorado. He uses the 9 Moons Hana Akari and his events TSL Resolution 2018 and the annual tournament TSL5 2021. So, all right, Jameis and Aaron Rahkola, both great dudes, both consulars in training and going to fight each other right now back in Vegas. Take us there, Joe.
The Battle of the
All right, welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada for our second, our underground match.
There is Mr. Erik
In the blue corner
Haltson himself.
We have Sir Aaron
Line judging this
Rahkola
match.
from Minnesota.
You did say you would make an
Shining
appearance
beacon.
multiple times. And there you
In
are.
the red corner, we have Sir Jameis Brumbaugh from Colorado.
Jameis with his
Fighters,
great
acknowledge the table.
red and white mask.
Fighters, acknowledge each other.
Was the band for the blue like an LED
Fighters,
band or something like that that
ready.
it flashes?
Yeah, one of the bands we had was a flashing one. I think his James's is as well, but it didn't really flash as brightly.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm not a huge fan of those bands because they're like too solid. You know what I mean? But I know like it looks nice and flashy in our sport.
Director Seth is back. I saw a
Hydrate
table full of
down the
geniuses
ball.
in the
Good
background
honor.
too,
Point
looking
red.
good. So
Fighters ready. Fight.
1-0, opening round, second match, TSL Underground Session number 7, the return to TSL5. So what's a consular, David? Because they're both consulars in training. They're very important to our sport. What is the role of a consular?
Oh.
Essentially, it is a member of our directing team. It means that they are able to direct at, if you become a full charge consular, as we call it, you're able to direct pretty much at tournaments, at CS. You can direct belt matches, things like that. So you've gone through a specific curriculum developed by Melodie Graham. It pretty much is like, there's lessons and things like that, and a required amount of hours and mentoring that it takes place. Seth is one of our full charge consulars after TSL5. And I don't know Aaron and James' status. They might be at that point or very close, or I can't remember exactly. So, but either way, that is our essentially ring director training that we have. So we're constantly, not relying on only, myself, Melodie, and Aaron. We have this full team that can go to different events and direct and then also mentor the next generation of people in training. So we're constantly working and having great quality directors around the entire organization.
Aaron Rocola breaks the tie with a 3-2 lead right now. Both of these fighters have been around for a good while. I mean, we had, both of them were in CS fights back in 2018, 2019.
Good honor, blue.
Have you guys had a chance to fight either of these fighters? And I know, Eric, you fought Aaron because both being Minnesota. What's maybe some insight into Aaron's style, or what fighting him is like?
Well, yeah, like you said, with his fighter resume,
I also
he's
saw the
the sweetest guy in the world.
Blue.
But he's got
Fighters ready.
different ways.
Fight.
I think, I don't know. He's very solid and powerful, and very deliberate with kind of choosing his moment. So I don't know. I'm not terribly aggressive, which is one of my issues, but
Good
he
honor.
doesn't present a lot of
Red.
opportunities.
Fighters
There's
ready.
not a lot of
Fight.
openings, and if you see one, it's probably a trap. I think that's even more true of Damon, actually. So again, these two are really well matched, and it's a well-balanced fight, as we can see.
Yeah, these are just back and forth, tied up. We're back, knotted at 4 here.
Yeah.
Round 1.
But they're changing up their strategies as well, which is kind of nice.
You're calling honor. Red concedes. Blue point. Gentlemen, switch sides.
What are we seeing strategy-wise out of Jameis right now, David?
I'm going to go back over here.
We're pretty much seeing kind of
Fighters ready.
he's waiting very patiently inside of the two-handed stance, but he shifts between different guards. Basically, he's trying to, I would call it like almost like a casting strategy. He's going from different guards, and he wants to cast out usually in a one-handed defense, and that is it's difficult with Aaron, who primarily operates out of the two-handed thing, because your two-handed defense is going to be much stronger than a one-handed strike. So if Aaron is tight enough with his defense, it makes it harder to get inside. So James is trying to get that quick inside action, capture the distance. Pretty much, there he did a little two-handed tapping, which actually looked pretty well. So the change in strategy there, maybe because he was going down in points.
Yeah, 6-5 now. Just a 1-point advantage for Aaron, our blue fighter.
I saw the red point. Fighters ready.
Yeah.
Fight.
Honor call nodded back up at 6. Yeah, back and forth we go.
Yeah.
These are two experienced fighters, and you
Red
know.
honor blue. Point red. Fighters ready.
Oh wow, Red
Fight.
got that point. 7-6.
Honor point. And this shot right here too. This has big last day of TSL energy because just everybody in the background, sparring, people meeting up. Hey, I haven't fought you yet this year. Do you got a minute? On deck. You know, all that. It's great.
Point blue. Fighters ready. Final exchange.
Nodded
Let's
back
point
up at
blue,
7.
please. Final exchange. Fighters ready.
All right, here we go. Final exchange of the round number 1. Man, this is just another coin flip here.
Yeah, I think these fighters would tell you too. This really could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, no fighter's strategy failed and none, prevailed. I think they both just held steady. Oof, some nice exchanges here.
Very
Did Red
nice
get it on the
fight,
inside?
guys.
He did.
Red takes the
Jameis
first
gets
round.
that opening
When you're
round.
ready, come on back up.
Oh,
We
wow.
are in round 2 of Aaron Rahkola.
Not yet. All right. Round number 1 wrap. That was fun. You were line judging, so obviously you were up close to it. We'll start with you, Erik. We covered a lot of it in there, but what does Aaron need to do to take round number 2?
Yeah, I think we saw a little bit toward the last couple of points there. You saw Aaron had a little flourish moment, and then he went back to a two-handed situation, but he was kind of, I don't know, he was kind of starting to adopt a one-handed thing with just that second hand back. He might do a little more one-handed fencing in the second round.
Okay.
In an attempt to sort of, work around what Jameis is doing.
What makes Jameis so confusing as a fighter? Because he doesn't really have. I mean, his style isn't really, like you said. He plays Soul Calibur and watches Samurai Champloo. Great anime, by the way. Top 3 opening all time. We can argue that off camera. But what does he need to do to remain where he's at? I guess.
The big thing he needs to do is make sure he's not overreaching. Down in the last few exchanges there on either side, it was kind of more boiled down to who made a mistake. As opposed to, who made a good shot, because they were fairly evenly matched. So it was more down to like, oh, he stepped weird. Oh, he exposed his arm a little bit too much with the guard or something like that. Or there was just a timing imbalance that led to someone getting the point. It was less so about offense and more just about like how you handle your, if you can avoid making mistakes. So I think with Jameis, he flips between all these different guards and kind of is trying to get that casting ability. I think the big thing is overreach. If he doesn't overreach, he'll take the second round because Aaron is operating mostly from that two-handed, and that does shorten his reach. So if he can get in and get out quickly and not overreach, it should be successful in the second round.
Let's find out who conquers the reach in round 2. Joe, take us back to Vegas.
From Minnesota,
round number 2. Here we go.
Brumbaugh,
Jameis, our red fighter,
Colorado.
raising his hand with the blue
Fighters.
shorts and the white
Ready.
mask with the red
Fight.
on it. And then Aaron, our blue fighter, with the gray and blue gear.
Very nice.
Oh. Okay.
Hold. I agree with the honor call. Points red, grays to the right arm.
Red gets the opening point.
Here we go. Sorry, guys.
I agree with
Points
myself.
red. Fighters ready. Fight.
It's been long enough. I actually don't remember these.
Yeah, this was back in July. That was a while ago. I have a hard time remembering last week, so I get it.
Hold. Honor call. Point red.
100%.
Fighters
2 straight
ready.
points by Jameis. And he looks like just a little bit more aggressive. Like Aaron may be laying back a little too much right now. He needs to get although there, and I say that, and there he goes, right there. Season opening, takes it, gets a point, 2-1.
Hold. Point blue, good honor.
Mass
Fighters
stab.
ready.
That was a nice
Fight.
mass stab.
Excellent.
2-2. Yep. Boop.
Dabbing somebody in the face. If you can do it, it's
Boop.
always the right move.
It's never a bad time. Unless you're the one getting stabbed in the face, I guess.
Yeah, but even then, you gotta respect it.
You didn't see it.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
I saw
true.
contact. However, we're going to go no score.
Jameis does do a good job of
Fighters-
pressing his
I
opponent.
thought I did.
Melodie Graham.
Guys, no
You're a
score.
smart
Fighters
person.
ready. Fight.
Yeah, Jameis is essentially, when he does that circle, occasionally what he'll do is he'll take a slight step forward at an angle, or sometimes instead of within the same footwork, he'll close his foot and then step forward.
I believe that's
And I can
contact.
see that's tricking the distance for Aaron, because sometimes you get into the circle mode where you want to just match them in the circle and you don't realize that another step was in a different direction, and by then it's too late. So that's what's working for James in this round.
Right. It's pretty great. And you saw how Aaron reacted too. Like, yeah, that just happened. Can't believe it.
Oh.
Red.
Red gets
Fighters
that
ready.
point.
Fight.
Aaron hung out there a little too long. James got to knock
Yeah.
a saber away and take advantage. 4-2.
Well, it's another cliche we have is you either win or you learn. And so, those little moments are good when you realize you just got. You know it was your fault. You know what you did wrong. Right? Take it for next
Right.
time.
You learn more from, you're right, those, like you said,
Red. I'm going to go fight red.
from those
Switch
moments
sides,
than you do,
guys.
like, sometimes your own successes.
Yeah.
Fighters ready.
If you
Yeah,
get
I think
got,
they're both
you
having a
tend
really
to
good
learn
fight.
something.
But Aaron's just not getting the points yet.
5-2. He's sitting back. I think he needs to kind of come at Jameis and make Jameis
Right.
uncomfortable, because Jameis looks too comfortable, like
I
sitting,
agree.
like doing what
You
he
can see
wants to
contact
do.
with the arm before red came down. Point blue. Fighters ready. Fight.
This one.
Every time I say that, Aaron gets a point though. So 3-5 now.
Right, yeah.
The big thing is, it's a minor thing, but Aaron sometimes when he's stepping forward, he puts a little more weight on his front leg, and that gives him just a little bit less time to get back. So that's the one thing about, we talk about leaning forward a lot and how it can be detrimental. He's not leaning his head too much, but just enough of that weight makes it a little bit slower for Aaron to react. So, the more kind of upright he can be, the more he can react to those counters by Jameis.
6-4. Aaron needs this one. Jameis wins this round, and he wins this match.
No contact. I thought I saw it. Declining points. Fighters ready. Fight.
So I'm not sure a time right now, but there'll be a time in this match where he's really gonna have to get on the gas pedal, especially already down 2 points, where he'd have to get,
Good honor. Fighters ready.
Oh,
Fight.
7-4 now.
Right.
Can Aaron come back and stay alive in this match?
Hold. Very good honor by red. Point blue.
Oh, yeah, good honor by
Fighters
Jameis.
ready. Fight.
One thing you'll get from these two gentlemen is great honor. If they get hit, they're gonna, they'll own up to
red.
it.
Good honor blue. Fighters ready. Fight.
Tit for tat, 8-5 though.
Aaron really needs to start pressing, and you can see there's a little bit more urgency in him, but he's still kind of hanging back.
Well, and Jameis knows he can kind of fall back now, and he can kind of, go into that prevent mode.
Red takes final point. Red takes match.
Oof,
There
Red
goes-
got the final
there you
point.
go.
Red
Fight.
got the match. He
Awesome
did.
job.
Closed it out.
There it is.
Really great first round. The second round was good too, but
First time I think I've-
really great first round. It was just Jameis stayed on that gas pedal that whole second round, and time kind of ran out for Aaron to make the comeback, right?
Yeah, when you're down points like that, it's important to press earlier in the round, because if you don't press early enough in the round, you're going to find yourself falling behind, and then you really have to rush. And then when you rush, you tend to make more mistakes. It happens a lot. Sometimes being in that close match where you're down 1, or like it's down 1 and then you close it out and you're down 2 and you get it to 1, and that kind of back and forth. If you don't press earlier in the round when your opponent is less likely to expect it, you might find yourself too far behind the points to come back, even if you start finding success in your exchanges.
Yeah. You're right. Once by the time you start finding success, it's too late because you're too far down. That makes a lot of sense. All right, Erik, any last thoughts on the Consular match? Since you were the line judge, you were right there, eyes on the match. Kind of final thoughts on that?
No, just to underline what David was saying. The clock is really nobody's friend. So you absolutely want to be fighting as few opponents as possible, and if you're fighting the clock too, then you're in trouble.
Be aggressive early. That's what it is. All right, I think we got a little ad, and then we'll be back for match number three. So, Joe, go ahead, run the ad.
Exchange.
Oh, they know what's happening.
They're playing around. This is over.
They
Let's
know
see
who
who gets the
won.
last point. Oh!
So the Saber Legion is an international saber combat organization. Essentially, at our core, we are a league that trains and fights with custom LED sabers. Our founders really liked swords and Star Wars and tried to find a way to combine these two loves. So they started fighting in one of their backyards with some friends, and after a few years, boom, this is what we came up with. Also, Combat Con and the Saber Legion share the same interests, values, and culture with our communities. This really made a match made in heaven between our two organizations. Combat Con hosts our annual international tournament. They offer a place where our fighters from all around the world can easily get to test their skill and mettle against other world-class LED saber combatants. Basically, members from each and every one of our charters come here once a year to compete and determine who is the best fighter in the world. So that's why you should join us at Combat Con and fight in the TSL annual tournament.
Ah, yes, Combat Con in Vegas every year for our yearly tournament. It's always a great time. I was gone last year. I really plan on being back for TSL6 because it's such a great time. The Combat Con people are always so awesome, and then like as Ben said, the community feel on the entire floor is it's something that you gotta experience in person.
Yeah, sorry, I'm distracted because I'm like it's reliving my failures and not getting first place at TSL4. So it was like the first thing is like, here's when you lose. I'm like, oh, okay.
Sorry,
I feel horrible.
Sorry,
now.
It's a good call.
What the call like? Yeah, well, the calling was accurate. The commentary was accurate. I just tear.
That's fun. Erik, you were talking earlier about just that feeling on the floor at Combat Con. Maybe a little wax poetic for us about that again. Just when you were there, because was this your first year going to Vegas for TSL for the national tournament?
No, sir. This was my third year at Vegas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You've gone every single year. Okay, perfect. That's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure. So, again, talk about what's the feeling on the floor as Combat Con as a whole.
Yeah, it's hard to describe, right? Because you've got your local charter, you've got your home team, you've got your folks, and depending on where you are, it's a middle-sized charter. You got 10 or 12 people, or it might be a larger charter with a rotating cast of 18 or 25 people that show up most weeks. Or it might be just like any place. I think you need 3 people to form a charter, but it might be a handful of like a small but dedicated fan base. And then you show up in Vegas and there's like just so many people. There's all this stuff. You've got your whole process for going through getting your gear inspected and checked in, and you've got the schedule, and you see who you drew in your pools, which this year I think was the first year in pools. Is that correct, David?
Last year was the first year they did pools. So this would have been the second year with the pools.
Yep. Yeah, it's the second year we did pools for standard. The first year we did pools for exotics. That was the difference.
Oh,
okay. That's where it was getting me. Yeah.
And
But
it was the
it's-
first year
yeah,
we
it's-
moved 2 on from the pools. So that was the other aspect of it, is moving 2
Yeah.
people on
Okay.
as opposed to just one. So it really encouraged people to do well in all of their matches, and I think it kept it a lot more even. There was people not trying to, like, pound it into the ground, so they definitely moved on because you didn't have to be top in your pool; you only had to be second. So you
Okay.
go up against let's say Mark or Alec or Alan, who are the top 3. You go up against them in your pool, and you don't have to worry that, oh, I'm never going to move on from this. You can lose one match and then still move on and go far in the tournament.
Oh, that is a really good change. Now at TSL, the national tournament, there's a lot more than just the standard and the exotic. There's also a 50+ tournament and a women's tournament as well, right?
Old guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually, in TSL6, we are going to have we'll have both of those tournaments, but we will also have tag team coming back, and we will also be doing on Sunday morning. We will be doing a unity tournament, which is a continuous fighting rule set that we've developed in the Saber Legion. So
Right, instead
we're
of
going to have
stopping in
other
between
tournaments
points and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a whole other system that would take me a little more time to discuss. But the basic thing is it's a continuous fighting rule set that has a little bit of different thing, but is still very much in the same vein as how we monitor fights in the Saber Legion. So, but that'll be a new challenge for some people.
Just like Underground has all these different flavors, the TSL National Tournament also has all these different flavors. So you go out there, you could participate in 1 tournament or 3 or 4. You never know, right? But it's great to go out there and just mix it up with everybody and be part of this community. So if you can make it out, I saw that promo code and that sale they're having for Halloween and stuff like that. So jump on that, get your tickets early. It's gonna be the kids still say lit. I don't know, but it's gonna be lit. So
yeah, you could be a woman over 50 and you could fight in all the tournaments.
Okay, well, I'm out of that one, but you could be, and if you are, you should.
You could fight awesome. Yeah.
I want to write that. That'd be a fun.
That's the max you could do.
6 tournaments. Woo! That's a heavy one. That's a heavy weekend right there. I know calling matches over that weekend, because when I go and I call 100 some matches over 3 days, it's crazy. Honestly, it's a whirlwind. I don't really process it for about a week afterwards. But man, it was hard this year being away. Watching it was great. Everyone did a great job. Cannot wait to get back in the chair next year and call this awesome action. So speaking of awesome action, let's keep Underground going. Match number 3 coming up. Who's fighting in this match, Joe? Mr. Thom Timko. I read the last name first. Thom Timko, 5'11", 197, 72-inch reach, training fencing since the 1900s. Wow, he's been alive a long time. 3 years Sabercraft choreography, 2 years custom saber experience, 3rd place in Krasadica Open Exotics. Oh, that's nice. Saber uses standard Mandocore MK4, Exotics Ultra Saber Yari X2, TSL5 standard and Exotics, Pike Krasadica, and Sun Crusher 3 standards. The Shark. And who's he fighting, Joe? Oh, look at that. Joseph Pavlenko. Height something, weight something, reach dark side. 3 years of custom saber experience, creative director for Underground, media team member, all around awesome dude. He was a Carico custom saber, California Dark Watch, Championship Series events, TSL 3, 4, and 5. My friend Joseph Pavlenko, awesome dude. I can't wait. Let's go to Vegas for this fight. I'm pumped. I edited this fight too, so it's a good fight.
All right, welcome to Underground in Las Vegas, Nevada. Our featured match for today.
Director Seth back on the directing.
From Florida. In the red corner is Joe Pavlenko from California. Fighters, acknowledge the table. Fighters, acknowledge each other.
We got Susan Parker in the comments, who must be over 50 woman, says, "No, David, I'm not killing myself." That is awesome. And people are loving your stats. Joe in the booth, I love you. All right, Joe, our red fighter. Thom, our blue fighter. Opening round, opening point goes to Joe. He takes a 1-0 lead.
And this will be a very different style from what we've seen previously. Joe fighting solely one-handed. with that Carrico custom, and Thom fighting from a kind of that 2-to-1 standpoint as well. So that's where it's going to kind of be a different kind of match, different matchup.
So why? So maybe explain to the people why a Carrico custom forces you to fight one-handed.
Well, it doesn't force you to fight one-handed. Essentially, Mark backweights his sabers to make them handle like swords. So there are one-handed varieties and two-handed varieties. And essentially, everything is back-weighted, so it handles, you're holding it right at the end of the saber. It's back-weighted, so you're not swinging as much. You can literally just tip up the pommel to get some of those angles very easily, and it pushes the opponent's blade out a little bit easier when you have that weighting. So, like I say, the easiest way to understand it is if you hold just say a basic Ultra Saber, you hold one of those, you hold a Carrico Custom, and then you hold a sword, like let's in this case say a military saber, you will see more comparisons between the Carrico Custom and the military saber as far as how it handles.
Right, because of how it's weighted.
Yeah. And I actually finally looked at messages from our producer, Melodie Graham. We were supposed to say that Ryan was a sponsor of the TSL5 tournament in our first match, and his armor was made by him. He makes the armor himself. So that's something we missed in that first round, and we apologize. And we appreciate Ryan for being a sponsor of TSL5.
Better late than never, but never late is better. 4-3 right now in Joseph Pavlenko versus Thom Timko. Joe standing there with that one-handed style. Thom with the two-handed, the shark.
The big thing you can hear now is there's a lot more fighting in the background, a lot more clanging, and just as it gets later in the day. So.
Yep. And whoever did the edit did not turn the background noise down as much as maybe the first two editors.
It's more that it's.
But yeah, there's a lot of sparring going on in the background, which is kind of cool.
It doubles.
It's just a cool environment.
By this point.
4-3, no score called.
That thrust was valid. Point blue. Fighters ready.
So Joe has to watch his distance. Essentially, he's cut. He tries to get that cut in there, but Thom has the reach on him. So if Joe is not in proper distance when he makes those shots, he's going to lose the point on that because because Thom has that longer reach. And you can see also Thom has now kind of gone a little bit more one-handed in his strikes. He holds it with two hands, but then a lot of times he's mostly striking with one hand.
Red, honor call by blue. Good honor. White, red. Fighters ready. Fight.
Oh, he's even got a shark fin on his back. That is amazing. I just noticed that.
Yeah, he's taking the shark thing too. Really.
I also saw.
That's one of the things about TSL that's great is the gear sets that some people have. I mean, we have so many cool gear sets. I mean, you got your Mandos, of course, and you got, all your traditional stuff. But then you have Predators, Dr. Doom out there lurking. What are some other great ones that I'm missing right now? The Predator one is awesome.
Well, we have
two
coming up. With Spider-Man and Deadpool.
We have superheroes galore. Yep.
We've done. I mean, there's a lot of different ones out there, but it really just depends. And then on top of that, there's some really cool masks as well. So, like Mark Carrico always has an interesting mask, and then Josh Wilcoxon, I know, who has
Venom, Punisher,
creates all the weird, the different unique masks, but he also has like his Vikings outfit.
Yep.
And I think he has another one. He has a Venom one as well.
Yep, Venom, and then Brian Williams, the Punisher one, and we got the Mandalorian or the Packerlorian up in Wisconsin. He's like a Mandalorian but Packer themed. That's pretty cool. There's lots of cool gear.
We also have Jesse Gill with the kind of the Mando, the custom Mando Boba Fett inspired gear. So we also have that he's been rocking for a long time.
He's been refining that gear set for many years. Charlie's gear set's great. Charley Cummings gear set. Have you ever seen that one? It's what is that? Is that more of like it's not a traditional gear set, but it's just more of how would you best describe it?
I agree. White, blue.
Don't ask me to describe it. There you
He
go.
moved a lot of that over from his time.
9-8 here.
And, we're getting right to the
This
end.
shot's called simultaneous. I do feel comfortable calling blue, white, blue, sudden death, gentlemen.
9-9,
death.
sudden
Ready.
death.
Yeah.
Round number 1. Match number 3.
Hold. Raised by red. Red takes round.
Red barely squeaks it out. 10-9.
Yeah. All
Joe
you need.
takes round 1.
All right, Jeff.
Not yet. All right. There we go. Round 1 in the books. So we talked a lot about gear sets. So let's talk about that round a little bit. What did you guys see? Let's start with our guest, Mr. Erik Haltson. What did you see in round 1 there from those two fighters?
Yeah. I mean, it's we got most of it, but it's kind of dazzled by the shark fin on Thom. That's pretty amazing. He made a good choice there, though, because you can exhibit some personality and add some stuff, but it should be noted that that's a valid target area. Anything you add to your kit, that can be whacked with a saber, if it's in a valid target area, is a valid target. So fins on his back. Nobody's going to get that. It's fine. But yeah, it's the 2-hand versus 1-hand kind of situation here. We've got Joe with a very measured, very kind of, cautious. I think Joe was unavailable for some of the audio stuff because he was off competing. I believe it was Saber, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll get corrected on that if we're wrong. But yeah, he was fighting with steel, and you can see that those techniques work in our sport really well. So
the one-handed style, style definitely has been coming more predominantly, I think, throughout TSL. David, what did you see in round 1 from those two fighters?
I mean, the big thing I'll point out is Joe's use of, we call them orbitals, but in his case, it'd be more traditionally a Molinet. He was keeping them very tight. Previous, if you don't monitor your distance and you move your body before your blade, you'll get interrupted with those. And a lot of time, once Joe found his rhythm halfway through that round, he started becoming more successful with those undercut Molinets. And because he was basically just moving his wrists and just doing it as a full wrist cut, and there wasn't as much arm movement, so he was just taking nice steps and then undercutting. And with Thom being a taller opponent, and anytime Thom would reach out, he would seek that opening. So that was kind of Joe playing to his strengths in that he can have a nice clean undercut on a taller opponent who might reach out with their arm and create an opening.
All right, let's find out round 2. Can Joe keep it up, or can Thom come back and get a round, take us to round 3? Joe, back to Vegas.
Gentlemen, we are in round 2. We have Thom Timko in the blue corner, Joe Pavlenko in the red corner. Fighters ready. Fight!
All right, round 2. Joe, our red fighter, on the right of our screen. Thom, our blue fighter, on the left.
Raised by red, point red. Fighters ready. Fight!
Red gets that opening point. One hand still working hard.
And looking good doing it.
Very stoic. Very stoic.
Hold.
Just in that stance.
I
Whoa.
agree.
Get the illusion of being totally in
Fighters
control,
ready.
which is
Fight!
good.
Right, like we were saying in that other match, right? It's not about like maybe being it's not about making the first mistake, right?
Fight!
Joe's got to
Two
work his
straight
angles
points.
a little bit more here.
Yeah.
Hold.
Yeah.
I agree again.
The nice
Point
encapsulation,
red.
though, about
Fighters
how
ready.
sports
Fight!
intentionally this big mishmash of styles and positions and everything seems equally valid if you buy it right.
Did you feel that was in a thrust or a cut? Thrust? Okay. I saw a thrust, however, it was to an invalid area. There was no follow-up, no score. Fighters ready. Fight!
Good
Director
direction.
saying there was a thrust, but it was not a valid scoring area, so no points awarded.
Hold.
You could cut onto the
Before
abdomen,
blue
but
point, I thought I saw red. Did you not agree? Let's do no score, guys, okay? Fighters ready. Fight! Hold. Fair enough. Inconclusive. Fighters ready. Honor call, he concedes point blue. Fighters ready.
3-1
Fight.
now.
Hold. I also saw
Blue goes
was
all
like
out,
first, point
but
blue.
gets the
Fighters
point.
ready. Fight.
3-2.
Joe has such a lead. His score is falling off the screen.
Yeah, I was actually
Hold.
just here,
Whole other level.
you know.
Literally.
Point red. Fighters ready.
There we
There
go.
it goes. Boom, back. 4-2. That was weird. It's happening again.
Keyframing.
4-2.
Keyframing.
I agree.
framing.
Simultaneous. Is that the third, Greg, or the second?
I know what happened.
Fighters ready. Fight.
Second simul
Well, that's
call.
okay because we have 2 scoreboards, and because our lovely timekeeper scorekeeper Greg Stevens kept us a
It
real
was
time to keep us
invalid.
honest. So
Therefore, red
we
takes
have
the
both
point.
options.
Fight reds. Gentlemen, switch sides.
depending on the
5-2.
flavor.
You know,
You just got that fencing in you.
I was gonna say it may stop, but
It is. That's what it is. Fighters ready.
I'm thinking it might not now at this point.
Good.
5-2.
Fight.
Joe is still with a 3-point lead.
Oh.
Tom was charging
Gotta
in.
make some big strides here.
Joe had to jump out of frame,
Fighters ready.
but he got the point.
Yep.
There was not an angle we could see it from.
He's
Joe
gonna
kind
make
of
some-
hanging out of frame here. Just like you
saying
said,
back
though,
to head,
that
Chris?
shark fin
Okay,
got
back.
hit
Very well. That's what I saw as well. Point red. Fighters ready.
and
Fight.
scored a point on. So you called it, Eric, not even knowing.
Hold.
The shark fin
I
out
agree.
and they got
Simultaneous.
smacked.
Third of the match.
3.
Please deduct 1 point. Fighters ready.
5-2
Fight.
now after the third simultaneous is called.
Hold.
Tom is realizing he's got to pick it up. He's got to do something
Hold
different.
time. Yep. A little distraction
Unfortunately,
here.
Joe's out
Set.
of frame right
All right.
now.
Fighters, are you ready? Fight.
So it kind of looks like the shark's fighting nobody, but he's not in frame on the other angle either.
Point blue. Fighters ready.
Blue gets
Fight.
another point. 5-3.
Hold.
Joe's kind of hanging out in this corner.
I thought it was
And-
invalid. Where did you see it? Here or below? Okay, very well. Point blue. Fighters ready.
Losing
Fight.
point, not losing points, but giving points up the longer he stays in this corner. 5-4. Well, once you back yourself kind of into a corner, you give yourself less room to maneuver, right?
Back up a little bit. Fighters
Yeah,
ready.
pretty
5-5,
much. I mean, there's
straight
strategy
points.
to it sometimes,
Fighters
but
ready.
yeah, it can be
Fight.
difficult.
Yeah, the score's staying still now. 5-5.
We can just blame
This
Joe
is
as creative
called
director, for not giving us a good
I thought I
angle
saw
to film
blue.
him
I
from.
called blue. Point blue.
He's so used to not
Fighters
being on
ready.
camera,
6-5.
Is he that?
trying to make himself
He's got
Tom
shots.
invisible.
now with a
Master
1-point lead.
Hold.
Joe's back in camera now.
Point blue. Fighters ready.
Blue takes another point. 7-5. So it was
Yeah, Tom has
5-2
really
at one
recalibrated
point.
there.
We've gone from 5-2 to 7-5.
Hold time. Hold time.
What just happened there?
He smacked it on the ground and it broke right in the hilt.
That'll happen. That will
It was-
happen.
yeah, it might
He
have been.
probably was feeling that it was already like loose or something like that, and then just like went to test it, and that was it.
I heard he
Exactly.
borrowed a saber to somebody and they sabotaged it.
Good. You did a good job.
It was probably Mark Garrico.
You just got to get those thrusts up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
That's
put it
what I
past
heard.
him.
How high up is this conspiracy?
Yeah, I know.
You can man
5-7 here.
Straight out or a little bit up.
Well, I mean, it goes all the way to the top fighter at TSL5, so that's pretty high.
Rinse. Below the rinse.
So what are you seeing so far in this round? That's,
All here.
I mean, because Joe was up 3-0, 5-2. He was on top, right? And then he kind of goes into the corner, and Tom just starts getting really aggressive with that slide that he actually lost a point on with getting hit in the shark fin. But since that point, he's won, 5 straight points.
Yeah.
So what's attributed
There's
to
some
that?
psychology.
Bring it up a little. You're definitely
Yeah,
not
pretty
looking
much.
for getting here,
Pretty
like,
much.
running
What's
for the
happening here is
bottom.
with Joe getting
Definitely
back to that
shaky.
corner, Tom was always on the offensive, and you can play a defensive game in TSL, but the problem is that you've got to incorporate some offense with it. So he kind of went into that defensive game way too long, got too many points against him before he actually adjusted.
Yeah.
So that's the big
6,
thing is he's going to need to he's going to need to start taking some offensive actions,
15 seconds.
react more faster reaction to Thom's attacks, because Thom has that reach and height. So with that reach and height, you've got to be able to work around it.
Yeah. If you are lacking in height and reach, you definitely have to find a workaround. That's for sure. I just thought of another great gear set. I think I see it in the background. Erik Wimbleth with the Assassin's Creed set. I think I see him in the background. That is a great gear set too. All right, we're back at it. 5-7. Joe, our red fighter, on the left side of your screen. Thom, our blue fighter, on the right side of your screen. The shark enemy, obviously. The shark. 6-7. Joe needed that point. Losing 5 straight points and going down like that. That's a good. That shows good heart right there.
Blue takes round. Very good job, guys.
Oh, blue gets that last point though, 8-6, and wins round 2 to send us to a pivotal, decisive, and ever entertaining round 3 momentarily after we break down that last round. So like we said, Joe had it going into round 2. He started off round 2 hot, 3. He goes, then loses 5 straight points in the middle of the round because he took his foot off the gas pedal, right? Something that you were talking about earlier, David, is staying aggressive. Even when up and with a round in pocket, you have to kind of stay on that pedal, because when Joe stepped back, went into that corner, it was, after that slide hit, it was just point after point after point, and then he kind of ran it all the way until that final exchange.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. Pretty much part of the thing is you can only do so much defensively to prevent when it's a first touch game. If there was a certain strikes required or something like that, then it's a different kind of game. So you have to play it in the context of, if you're going to get that hit, you can't just sit and wait. You have to be aggressive, or at the very.
Oh, and we lost David's sound. I'm sure he's making a fabulous point that's dead on, because he nails it like 1,000% of the time. But while we figure that out, Joe, just take us back to Vegas for this round 3, because I need to get this one out. This is an exciting match, and then Erik can kind of break it down for us while we enter into the beginning of round 3 here.
For round 3.
All right, we're back. Thom, Timko, our blue fighter. Joe, Pavlenko, our red fighter. Joe's on the left side, or the right side of the screen. Sorry, and Thom's back on the left side.
Joe Pavlenko of California.
So, Erik, what were you seeing? Did you see anything different in that last round?
No, we got it. I think during the match, it's a question of just controlling the kind of fight you're having, and if you have an opening and an opportunity to do that, to kind of set the pace of the tempo, or just put your opponent off of their game a little bit. Sometimes that's all you need. But what Thom did really well is he capitalized on that. There was a high risk, high reward thing. He actually lost the point, as you pointed out. But at that point, he had kind of changed things around, and it became a different kind of game.
Fighters ready. Fight!
All right, 1 point exchanged here in this third and final round. Each fighter has a round in pocket.
I agree. Point blue. Fighters ready. Fight!
And
How about now?
Still resting.
Yep, we got you.
Yeah, I hear you, David.
All right. I forgot to plug in my one wireless transmitter on my lab, so the battery died. So
That happens.
Hold.
That'll be a thing.
2-1 here early in round 3.
Fighters ready. 3-1. Fight.
Just keeping the momentum going. Joseph's trying to be a little more aggressive.
Judge calls red. Point's red. Fighters ready.
Red gets that point 3-2. So it looks like Thom's a little more reserved in this round. He's a little less aggressive than he was in that second round.
Or clavicle first before it might have split up.
Well, that third round can mean a lot of things. Sometimes that can mean the point of exhaustion. Sometimes that can mean, people have finally figured out their opponent. Other times it can mean that you're trying to adapt again because something didn't work in the first 2 rounds, and you're trying to find
Hold
new
time, 1
strategy
second,
that
Greg.
works. So there can be a lot of things going into it.
Are you
A
okay?
lot of times it can be fatigue. Even a minor amount of fatigue can just change the rhythm of the match. It doesn't have to be like you're super tired and you can't fight anymore. It can just be like you've gone from 90% energy to 80%, and sometimes that's all it takes.
Right. Seth was just checking. Dr. Seth was just checking on Thom there. The blade had slid up into his throat area. He was totally fine. But we just want to make sure our fighters are always good to go, even if they're not even stating it. If we see something that looks a little off, or a director sees something, they may stop just to check, just to make sure. It's just never a bad thing when you want to double check on safety. Thom up 5-3 over Joe.
Hold. White, blue. Fighters ready. Fight.
He's getting in there with these quick thrusts up in there, the shoulder area. And that seems to work for him quite a few times.
Hold.
He's keeping it safe because as he's going in, he's also
I
like,
also saw blue. Yes,
deflects.
before red came in. White, blue. Fighters ready. Fight.
7-3. Thom with 4-point advantage here.
Red. Fighters ready.
Red needed that point. That was a nice step back, and then to come around and get that arm.
Timing, great example.
Hold. White, red. Fighters ready. Fight.
There you go. 2 points in a row.
Dialing it in a little bit. Maybe Thom's getting a little tired as well.
Hold. White, red.
They still the Shark's still bouncing, but that's 3 straight points for Red, so he tightens it up now, 7-6. I think Joe's getting his timing down a little bit here as we've gotten the more points have gone on in this round.
Hold. White, blue. Fighters ready.
Blue kind of drawed him in there. Drew him in. There we go. That's the English I was looking for. 8-6.
Hold. White, blue. Fighters ready. Fight.
9-6 now. Match point for Thom.
Match point blue. Hold. I saw the leg shot, and we have an honor call. Point red. Fighters ready.
Honor call. Good honor right there too, especially being match point. 9-7.
Hold. Point red. Fighters ready.
Whoa.
That gets another point. Stays alive. 9-8.
Hold.
Very subtle from here, but
I think that was too close to call. I called no score. Fighters ready. Fight.
Director calls no point. Not simul, just no point awarded on either side. We're still 8-9 here.
Hold.
You see the Shark with that beautiful step back deflection and then reach, and he takes the round right there. What that was great. That was he was quick with it. That step back and that step back deflect and step back in is it's brutal. So that was a fast-paced third round from those two fighters. I think faster than I thought it was going to be. Going back when I was looking at the edit and everything like that, they were kind of a little bit more plodding in the second round, and it took a little bit longer. In that third one, it kind of started out, but then it was just like point, and then it looked like Joe was almost going to lose it there at one point, but then he came storming back and made it really tight there at the end. So Erik, what in that last round kind of is going to sit with you, or that is your takeaway?
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It wasn't like a perfect mirror image of the second round, but it was a situation where Thom had a rhythm. Thom had a sort of a mode in which he was operating that worked great for him. But then Joe found a way to sort of throw him off that and kind of get his own fight back. And at that point, like you said, Joe was like 3 points in a row, just kind of like, in charge, in control, not really falling for it, and able to sort of get, where he needed to be. And it was the classic, just fight your fight is the thing. And if you can figure out a way to do that, then you've got some room to move.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that was right. Like you said, like adjust, then readjust, and then adjust again. And I think David, you were the one that was saying that, where you have to kind of like, You'll have a game plan, then you have to adjust that game plan, then you have to adjust the game plan again once things stop working. And it looked like Thom kind of did that just slightly better on that third round, where he just kept making adjustments. Even when Joe caught fire with those 3 straight points, Thom makes another adjustment, and then boom, he gets that final point and wins the match. So David, what are your parting thoughts on that match?
Yeah, the big thing is, like I said, at a certain point you can get kind of locked into your strategy, and you understand as the match shifts, you understand in real time, and you can make these adjustments. And it seemed like Thom made a lot of those adjustments. It let him go up more points early on, and even as Joe started to catch him, it was enough to hold him off. So that's the key thing. If you can get that early lead or middle of the match lead, you can basically win on that, because all you have to do then is they can win, say, 3 or 4, but all you need to do is win 1 out of 4, which is kind of what happened there. Joe kept coming back, closed it to 1 point differential, and then Thom got that last one to take the match. So that's that is one advantage to getting to that 9 points sooner, is you get that a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Any advantage is a good advantage in these fights, right? And so even getting like you said, getting a 9 point sooner, which I've never even thought about, getting 9 points sooner is a nice advantage to have, because you're that 1 point away. Awesome match. We got one more match for you guys tonight. It's going to be we're going tag teams. We haven't done a lot of tag teams, and I don't know if we ever had a tag team be our main event, but we do now. Who are our first competitors in this tag team match, Joe? We have the Fabulous Frogs, Andy Cameron, the man with the fabulous shoes, Mr. Fabulous, from the Wausau Saber Academy, 5'10", 220 with a 73-inch reach, and his partner, who we saw fight a little bit earlier, Mr. Joe Blankenship, 5'9", 220, 73-inch reach. So certified line judge on Andy's side, and then all the Joe fights with the Manticore Custom Saber, and then a whole bunch of events and stuff. There is impressive, but they're going up against the Marvelous Men. That is a whole lot of writing on that screen, and I am not even going to attempt to read half of it. But I will tell you that Mr. Jared Graham, on the bottom of that Marvelous Men stack there, is 6'3" with 240 pounds and a 77-inch reach. And his partner, Mr. Spider-Man himself, Chris Becerril, sitting on his shoulders, is 5'9", weight not enough, and reach 71 inches. They both do a lot of training. They've both been fighting for a while, and they've both done a lot of things in TSL, and they are both awesome men. This is a group of awesome fighters. Joe, take us out to TSL for some tag team action.
Las Vegas Underground match with the Marvelous Men from Florida, Chris and Jared, versus the Fabulous Frogs from Wisconsin, Joe and Andy. Fighters, acknowledge your table. Acknowledge each other. Fighters at the ready.
All right, looks like they're doing rock, paper, scissors for who gets to go first. Marvelous Men, always entertaining. Jared looks like he lost and has to go first. So maybe it was rock, paper, scissors who doesn't have to go first. Either way, Jared lost.
Yeah, this is way less likely to be a reserved, economy of motion kind of a fight here. This is more.
I agree with my red judge. I saw red point. Fighters at the ready.
Yeah, you're pretty much not going to see, you're going to see a lot of, you're probably going to get tired watching it. I don't mean tired of watching it. You'll just get tired because it felt like you fought, jumping around and moving around as actively as they will be.
Did he wind up hitting you? Or did you just stab him?
Jared, for being 6'3", is a just constant movement and motion and
no exchange,
just all over the place. I mean, spaghetti arm wiggling,
Fighters at the ready.
That's that guy.
Fight.
When he fights, he is in the best possible way a cartoon character.
I saw red before blue.
Yeah.
Red point. Fighters at the ready.
Red gets the point. He just stuck it out, kept driving that point, and he got it.
Hold.
All right. Oh, Spider-Man's in. That was a quick.
I saw blue before red. Blue point. Fighters at the
We
ready.
got
Fight.
Andy Cameron in with those fabulous shoes. I mean, they are the fabulous frogs.
Hold. I agree with my judge. I saw blue before red. Blue point. Fighters at the ready. Fight.
And you'll notice the fast tag there that happened, where we allow a little bit more, you can be a little bit more open and a little bit more silly. So
Fighters at the
typically
ready.
we would,
Fight.
even though the tags, we don't end the exchange, it's a little bit more, there'd be a little bit more of a break there between the tag out and the tag in, just so the person has a chance to step in the ring.
Fight.
But we give them a little bit more leeway when this is an unranked fight.
Underground. When it's underground. 3-3. We do have a new director. If he looks familiar, that's because he fought earlier. Mr. James Brumbaugh
I saw
himself.
red as well. Red point.
Doing directing.
Fighters at the ready. Fight. Keep fighting.
Marvelous Men up 4-3 over the Fabulous Frogs.
Oh. Blue point.
Blue ties it up and kills Deadpool.
Fight. Oh. I saw red. Red
Jared
point.
trying for a
That's
distraction
5. Automatic
technique.
Switch.
Yeah.
Got the point, not so
No.
much the distraction.
I don't remember. It's okay. Yeah. Fighters at the ready. Fight.
So at 5 points, instead of switching sides in a match, they switch fighters in the tag team.
Hold.
Yeah.
I saw blue as well. Blue point. Fighters at the ready. Fight.
5-5. Very tight opening round for the tag team
I
match.
saw red as well.
Same
Red
3
point.
rounds.
Fighters at the ready. Fight.
Same first 1 to 10 or whoever's ahead at the time when time expires. And the first person win 2 rounds wins the match.
I saw blue first as well. Blue point. Fighters at the ready. Fight. Switch. Hold. I saw simultaneous as well. Automatic switch. Fighters at the ready. Fight. Hold. I saw red first as well. Red
This is a
point.
very
Fighters at the ready.
tight opening round. I mean, it's just fast, furious action.
Good on a red.
Very
Blue
fast.
Slightly faster.
Yeah,
Blue
with
gets
those,
point.
with the
Fighters
the
at
amount of
ready.
movement that
Fight.
happens, it's just, it depends who can time it out right, because there's going to be a lot of that, and so if you can react appropriately to the dynamic movement, you can get ahead, and that's happening with some of Jared's points here.
Timing and reaction. Timing and reaction speed will get you lots of points. 8-7.
Hold. Good on a red. Blue gets the point. Fighters at the ready.
8-8.
Fight.
I think every opening round in every match tonight has been either down to the just sudden death or a coin flip. And this is no different. 9-8 here. Round point. So can the Marvelous Men take the opening round, or do the Fabulous Frogs hold on for victory in round number 1? Blue got the point. 9-9. Sudden death. Round number 1. I did not see that one.
Judge over there. Simultaneous.
Simul, let's rerun it. Switching. Simul. So no points with simultaneous, just switch fighters.
Well, if you get to 3, you will eventually start to lose points, but it's a mandatory switch on any simultaneous.
I agree with my blue
there we
judge.
go.
Blue is slightly faster than red. Blue gets the
Ooh,
point.
blue takes the point, takes the round. The Fabulous Frogs win round 1. That was a good round. That was a really good round. It was everything we thought it was going to be. It was fast. It was entertaining. It was violent. Not too violent, but just enough violence for my liking. What did I not see that you guys saw? As always, our guest, go first, Mr. Erik Haltson.
Wow. Yeah, I just like David said, I'm a little tired and overwhelmed just watching that. I'm kind of buffering. A lot of information there. A lot of stuff happened in a very short time.
Watching those four gentlemen, at such a rapid pace hit each other is very entertaining. David, maybe break it down a little bit. What's going on with, because it seems like Jared's having better success versus I'm losing it here, versus Joe, and Chris is struggling a little bit versus Andy. So, I mean, Joe did already fight now, so that could be a contributing factor. But what am I not seeing?
Well, first, I do have to issue a correction. You do not lose points in a tag match. You only have the mandatory switch. So you could have a million simuls and not lose a point. So I should know that as the tag team, one half of the tag team champions. But also, I will say the last tag team match I fought was in February of 2020. And the last one I directed was probably some point in 2019. So it's been a little while since I've done that.
We forgive you.
But yes, I just have to issue that correction. Thank you, Melodie Graham, for keeping me honest. The big thing is Jared is kind of like constantly circling around with this saber. So, they're both kind of casting out, but Jared gets these second and third intentions by kind of enveloping or circling around so he can get those simple wrist shots. So he gets that as the opponent continues to step in. That's the big thing that's happening for Jared that's working. It's really just, part of it is just that you gotta, with a tag, you have to figure out who matches up best with who. The sooner you can figure that out, the better. Going into matches that I always had to make sure that I knew who I probably matched up against better. It wasn't always the case, but then also recognizing when your partner is struggling against an opponent, getting them to tag out sooner. The problem is if you have a tag partner like Mark Carrico, he will absolutely refuse until he gets his point in. So, but if you have a more receptive partner, you might actually be able to, get them say, okay, switch out. Let's change it up. And sometimes that can also disrupt the strategy of your opponent is a switch out. Even if the match might not be as ideal, sometimes that change in strategy on the quick, makes tag team interesting and can help you get a few points where you might not have gotten them by keeping with the same partner.
Excellent. All right, let's go back out to Vegas for round number 2. See if the Fabulous Frogs can get on the board here and send us to a round 3, or do the Marvelous Men close it out in 2 and send us home happy? I mean, I'm always happy, but...
Fighters at the ready. Fight!
So yeah, here's that Chris and Andy matchup you were talking about.
Chris starting out, Chris and Andy starting out. That didn't go well for them in round 1. I'm wondering if that's going to go a little bit better in round 2 or any different.
I saw red slightly before blue. Red gets the point. Fighters at the ready. Fight.
Chris is a fast fighter. Chris has a lot of speed, a lot of bouncing, a lot of movement from him.
Honor red. Blue gets the point.
1-1.
Fighters at the ready. Fight.
How distracting can sometimes those opponents be? All that bouncing, moving, and switching, and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, if you haven't learned to, be ready for that, it can be very distracting. But if you've been fighting long enough, you pretty much you gotta stay kind of serious and stoic as you can. Sometimes in a match when someone is purposely trying to take you out of their game. I fought Jared in that same way, and that's what I knew going in. Don't play the fun game. It in the context of fun, when you're not in a competitive match, it is fun to fight, in that way. But if it's not your style, it is bait to pull you in to fight their fight, and you always want to fight your fight and make them fight your fight, which is what Jared does. So if you're fighting Jared, don't fight his fight unless you're also that very dynamic and I'll say silly style. Don't try to mimic it. It won't work.
Right.
Keep fighting. Hold.
Jared's style is uniquely onto Jared. Let's be real.
Who's calling honor?
Although I would like to see, speaking of unique styles, I'd like to see Jared and Jimmy Sorrell. That'd be Gumby versus,
Oh, yeah.
spaghetti wiggly, I could go for that.
That must have
for that
happened
action.
at
But
some
here in the Fabulous Frogs, Marvelous Men action, it's 4-3 now. The Fabulous Frogs have kind of flipped the script, so 3-1, and then they got 3 straight points to get a 4-3 advantage, and now we're knotted up at 4.
Hold. Red got in there. Red gets the
So
point.
Christmas having actually better
Automatic
success with
switch.
Andy at the beginning of this round. Then they switched out
Yeah.
and switched
At
back.
the ready. Fight.
Oh, I was thinking that.
The frogs are angry.
Interesting strategy.
Hold. Red gets the point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you just stick your sword out there, or if you stick your thing out there that long, he's gonna hit it. 6-4.
Hold.
Yeah.
Are they
see,
inbound?
Andy's
I was
getting
gonna say,
drunk.
they had to be getting close to the edge of the ring there.
Okay. Honor red. Blue gets the point.
Fortunately, we have those sandwich
For Deadpool, ring
markers
outs are a
there,
little
so it's kind of
different.
easy to know
It's
the
covered in the
ring out.
dimensional thing. Fighters at the ready. Fight. Yeah.
6-5, round 2. Marvelous Men with the round 1 victory.
Hold.
Mm.
I saw red to blue. Red gets the point. Fighters
Yeah,
at
that
the
was
ready.
clean too. It looks,
Fight.
whimsical and fun, and it is. But there's a method to the madness too.
Hold. Good honor red. Blue got
Jared's
the point.
saber fighting
Fighters at the
style
ready.
reminds me of like a
Fight.
you ever seen like a drunken
Switch.
master, or you know what I mean, like the drunken kung fu style,
Absolutely.
where it looks
Mhm.
like it's ineffective, but it's completely
Hold.
effective to that person using
I saw
it,
blue
but a
before
very
red. Blue
unique
gets the
special
point.
person has to
Fighters
use
at the
it.
ready.
That is Jared Graham.
Fight. Keep fighting.
TSL bylaws do prohibit actual drunken fighting, which is
Yes, but I was just
Something
as a reference point for maybe other
Hold.
people out there.
Blue gets the point. Fighters
And
at
there's
the
a good
ready.
Jackie
historical
Chan
weapons,
movie
I've
about
actually heard
that.
it's more effective
Switch.
to do
Hold.
drunken style
Good
fighting.
honor blue.
You know,
Red
like
gets
to
the
feel
point.
like
Fighters at the
that
ready.
boldness,
Fight.
that lack of inhibition, can
Yes.
actually benefit you in certain fighting styles.
Hold.
8-8 here.
I'll have
That
to
goes back
defer
to the
my
flow
I was
judge.
state.
told
Red
that
gets
by
the
Richard
point.
Marsden
Fighters at the
about
ready.
Polish Saber. It's kind of you need
Fight.
to have the boldness to someone
Switch.
who has had a few drinks.
Huh. Interesting. Marvelous Men with a
Hold.
9-8.
I saw you're deferring. You're giving honor.
Well, I'll take the point.
I saw blue before red. Blue gets the point.
All right, Jameis calls it.
Fighters at the
Jameis
ready.
seeing it clearly.
Fight.
9-9 here. Sudden death, round 2. Marvelous Men can close it out. We can wrap it up
Switch.
right here.
Hold.
They switched out.
A definitive end for
Or sorry,
red.
Fabulous
Red
Frogs
gets
won the first round.
point.
That's right.
That's
Fabulous
the end
Frogs
of
won
the
the first
second
round.
match.
Marvelous
Going to
Men
match
needed to come
3.
There you
back.
go. We're going to a
10-9. We are going to a third round. I don't know why my brain failed me there at parts of that. But the Fabulous Frogs had round 1. They needed to come back, and they did. Jared and Chris didn't control. It didn't seem like they controlled the round the entire time, but yet somehow they did and ended up winning it. How did that happen? David, you go first.
It just seemed like, even though they weren't controlling the match, there may have been enough mistakes happening on the other side to just get those couple of those exchanges. I mean, some of them were very tight exchanges, and you couldn't really, it could have gone either way with, part of a second difference. So there's just about that, I don't know, unless like maybe they figured out how to fold time in on itself and just get a little bit faster. But beyond that, I think it was just about, just they got just enough exchanges to make the difference. Even though they weren't controlling, it didn't seem like they were in control of the tempo. The tempo was more fought on the Fabulous Frogs tempo.
But yet the Marvelous Men were still victorious. Erik Haltson, any insight into how they pulled that off?
I think that there was a couple of minutes there where you could tell that Mr. Fabulous was kind of into it and chasing Jared around the ring, and it was, putting on a good show, and also kind of trying, I think, to get into the spirit of the thing and maybe capture some of that rhythm. And it didn't go too badly, but that was a moment where within a couple more exchanges, Jared was just ready, and there was a very clean hit that was unanswered, and I think that's a good example of that was Jared's fight for that last little bit.
Right. Yeah. You kind of saw the Fabulous Frog kind of playing their match, or playing Jared's match instead of playing their own. Now I wonder if we'll see them in round 3 kind of slide back to theirs. Now that victory is kind of, teeters on the brink here in round number 3. Let's go find out. Joe, take us to Vegas for round 3.
Between the Fabulous Frogs and the Marvelous Men, fighters at the ready. Check out that booty. Fight.
Jared doing his thing, dancing. Oh, the Fabulous Frog's
takeoff.
getting into it.
Well,
Thought we were going
not,
straight
right?
dance offer to the first point, but nope. They're going to hit each other.
Fighting.
Why not both?
Hold. I saw red in the beginning. Get over before blue. Red gets the point.
Yeah,
Fighters
Red,
at the ready.
how does
Fight.
Jared do that as he jumps forward what seemingly on one leg and he continually is hitting as he's leaping forward? That doesn't seem like it would work all that well, but it works for him.
Blue gets the point.
I mean, it's
Fighters
pretty
at
much
the
he
ready.
has
kinda
to start the
Fight.
motion of the saber at the time he jumps. So if you don't start the motion of the saber when you do that, it's going to kind of go against you. But he makes it work in that context.
And for him, it's probably instinctual at this point, right? Because Jared's style has been Jared's style for a while, and like when he does that, he probably just has that rhythm. As soon as he starts jumping, his hand kind of goes with it, and it just works for him.
Frogs eat spiders. Let's see what happens. Hold.
1-1
I saw
here.
blue over the top on red. Blue gets the point. Fighters at the ready. Fight.
We got Joe in for the Fabulous Frogs. We got Chris in for the Marvelous Men. Yeah, the pace just
Hold.
took a
Good
step
honor,
back,
blue.
which is
Red
kind of
gets
nice.
the
You knew
point.
it's settled.
Fighters at the ready. Fight.
Yeah, in round 1,
Still
you'd
very
expect to see
even though,
Chris bounce
2-2.
all over the place.
Hold. Good honor, red. Blue gets the point. Fighters at the ready.
The deeper in the
Fight.
match, though, sometimes the less bouncing the bouncy people
Switch.
get.
Yeah.
Hold.
And that can be to their advantage or disadvantage
Or-
at times.
Hold. Armor.
In the case
What
of
just
someone
happened
charging
there?
at you, maybe it can be an advantage.
Woo! Who got that point?
Before the hilarity, I saw red first. Red gets the point. Fighters
Yeah,
at
Red
the
was
ready.
in there first. 3-3.
Yeah.
Fight.
Spider-like reflexes paid off. You
Hold.
can charge at him, but
Yep.
honor,
Some of
red.
that
Blue gets
spider
the
foo he
point.
practices.
Fighters at the ready.
4-3. Frogs have slowed it down though. But I mean, they had that charge and there's little dancing, but
Hold.
it seems more business from the Fabulous
Pretty close
Frogs.
to me. I'm going to call it a
they're trying
simultaneous
stuff.
automatic
They're
switch.
sort of trying to mix it up.
Fighters at the ready. Fight.
Okay, Jared's
Just being
back in
flexible.
now. 3-4. We got Joe in versus Jared.
Hold.
Mm. Oh, you got that. Yeah. What?
I agree
Jared
with my
making
judge.
sure his opponent's
Simultaneous
okay.
Automatic switch.
Don't
Fighters
Time
at
will
the
call.
ready.
Switch it out.
Fight. Hold. Good honor, red. Blue gets the point. Fighters at the ready.
5-3 now.
Automatic switch at 5.
The pace is
Yeah, 'cause
definitely
he's-
slowed though in this match. And I
Hold.
think that's to the
He's,
Fabulous
regular
Frogs'
human
advantage.
levels.
Fight.
Yes.
Yeah, it is, and because he's catching, Andy was catching Chris, on these just back steps and things like that. So he was able to time him out and work that little bit of lack of speed just was to Andy's favor because I think he has a little bit more reach on Chris.
Hold. I saw red slightly before the blue thrust. Red gets the point. Fighters at the ready.
Red gets in.
Fight.
5-4. Looks like Red was almost doing a boxing style there. Oh, here we go, Karate Kid.
Hold.
Oh,
I saw
beat
blue
the
on
leg.
red's arm. Good honor, red. Blue gets the point. Fighters at the
Oh,
ready.
Red's keeps that
Fight.
advantage though. 6-4. It's not a big advantage, but 2 points is still
That's
2
a trap.
points. Admiral Akbar voice. That's a trap.
Hold. I saw nothing. Continue.
I saw. There you go. Sometimes you just gotta just
I agree with my
just
judge.
to announce
I
you
saw
saw
blue
nothing.
before red. Fighters at the ready.
Wow.
Ooh,
Fight.
7-4 now.
Mm-hmm.
The slower this pace
Hold.
is, the more it leads to the Fabulous
I
Frogs
agree with my
advantage.
judge. I saw blue before red. Fighters
Ooh,
at the ready.
8-4.
Fight.
Yeah.
7-4. I mean,
And it's not like there's any huge mistakes being made.
Keep
It's
fighting.
just
Hold. Good honor, blue.
no. It's as
Red
the
gets
match has gotten
point.
more
Fighters at the
normal,
ready. Fight.
it leads to the Fabulous
Switch.
Frogs advantage. The more weird and
Just tactics
outlandish
versus tactics.
and hectic it is, I think it leads to the Marvelous
Hold.
Men's favor.
Good honor, red. Blue gets the point. Match point for blue. Fighters at the
8-5.
ready. Fight.
Seems like match point, but it's not quite.
Nope. Actually, it is match point.
Oh, because of
Looking
time.
at the scorecard. No, look at the
Keep
scorecard.
fighting.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
9-5.
Fighting.
Maybe just a little bit of.
Oh.
Oh.
Keep fighting. Oh.
Oh.
At the end, blue on the back of red.
Did
Blue
blue
gets
get
the
it?
point and the match.
Blue gets the point. Blue gets the win.
Good
Wow, they
match.
normalized that fight
Winners,
and were able to
the
take that
Fabulous
victory.
Frogs.
Wow, Fabulous Frogs pulled it out. Won round 1, lost round 2, but regained their composure and came back with a furious, fabulous round 3 to win that match. I'm not gonna say I'm shocked, but what a great showing by the Fabulous Frogs. Because Jared and Chris are no slouches. Well, like we've talked about throughout the match. Put a bow on this one for me, David. You started off.
I mean, the big thing is just that they saw the Frogs saw the slowdown in the tempo, and they kept pressing and pressing and pressing. As soon as you see that a change like that, that can just sometimes be disastrous for you as a fighter. If someone can key on a change and see it, that's just because you're making an adjustment, even if it's an adjustment because you're tired or an adjustment because of your strategy. But if they see it and know how to combat it, and that's really what happened. You just saw a lot more work, coming out of there with that slowdown and energy on the Marvelous Men. So it's just sometimes that is probably some fatigue, but some of it could also be just unintentional fatigue, mental fatigue in a match like that. So that's possible too. But it just slows you down, gives you that little bit of slower reaction time, and the Frogs capitalized on it.
Yeah, they did. Erik, give us your closing thoughts on this match. The tag team.
I mean, kind of in
turmoil.
video game terms, it's like fighting a boss battle where the experience you gain in getting beaten for a little while, you work out what the pattern is. You try to figure out. It's not like there's any big tell necessarily, or it's not like there's any wide open opportunity, but you just start to figure out what the rhythm is for your opponent, and then you use that. And then
controlling that tempo, finding out their rhythm, and then using that rhythm to control your tempo and fight your fight, right? Like you were saying, right? You want to fight your match.
It all comes back.
You want to fight your fight, and the Frogs did that, and that's how they got to victory tonight. What a great! I mean, I thank you, everyone, all the participants, everyone who joined tonight, because I got to feel like part of TSL5 without getting to be there, and I hope everybody else did. These were some fabulous matches. Definitely, if you want to watch any of the TSL5 stuff, it is all on YouTube. It is all out there for you to go enjoy and view and see who won the exotics or see who won the standard or go watch the women's tournament or the 50+ stuff like that. All that sort of stuff. David, what do you got for us before we get up out of here?
Well, I just want to say, yes, all of the live streams are available. I've been meaning to get off my butt and have the time when I have the time, because that is a short commodity. But when I have the time to get some of those individual matches uploaded, I've talked about a couple on my show, repost and repost. But I want to get them all up there. It's just limited amount of time, limited amount of people that also can do it. So we will get that up there. I'm gonna hope let's say by the end of the year we'll get it done. That's a good deadline that maybe I can under promise and over deliver on it. So let's
there we go.
We'll work through that. We'll get all those individual matches that we have recorded, because I think we have something like 90 some % of the matches recorded. So we'll stay tuned for that on our YouTube channel.
Excellent. And you can find the Saber Legion on Facebook, on YouTube, Twitch, all over the place. Just search the Saber Legion.
Discord.
You can find the Facebook group, the Facebook page. What'd you say? Discord?
Discord.
Yes,
We have a Discord
Always
server as
run
well. So if
Saber
you're not on
Legion
Facebook and you want that social media interaction, you can find us on a Discord.
Yes, definitely. Saber Legion all over the place. Instagram, I think I mentioned too, but they're everywhere. Definitely go find them. I have been your host, Thor. Baseboy Banners, my channel. You can find me all over the web. I want to thank Erik Haltson for joining us tonight, being our guest. Joe in the booth, Melodie, everybody, all the competitors, all the fighters, everyone at home. Love you. Peace. United through Sabers. We're out of here. Joe, send us home.